Welcome back to Torn Apart News, the only place on the internet where we tear the news apart bit by bit until our leaders, the space ducks, can finally return to Earth and give us our freedom back.
No! God, please, no! No!
Jokes aside, I have a lot of things to talk about this week. There have been so many trailers coming out, and honestly, I had to trim down the script quite a lot because it's impossible to do this in less than 10 minutes. Let's jump straight ahead and talk about Furiosa, aka the new George Miller movie after his incredible Mad Max Fury Road, which came out almost 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, if not a little bit more.
You have it in you to make it epic.
It's gonna be a prequel, of course. It's starring Anya Taylor-Joy and also Chris Hemsworth. We finally have a trailer. It has created a bit of a controversy online when it comes to debating about its VFX and how George Miller maybe got too old for this shit and he doesn't really care about making practical effects look amazing. But honestly, this is the first trailer of a movie that is coming out next year, and a movie that is defined by its visual effects, and I feel like you have to rewatch Mad Max Fury Road because that movie kind of looks like a video game at some point. Like a beautiful video game, of course, like a next-gen video game, but still, it's not the most realistic movie, right? Jokes aside, let's have a look at it, and I actually know exactly what the movie is gonna be about, and we are a bit worried when it comes to the chronology. It's a bit of a mess when it comes to the franchise, when it comes to the universe, but honestly, let's not pay attention to it too much, in my opinion, just because we are here for the action, we are here for the effects. We're not necessarily here to make sure that all the Easter eggs in the Mad Max franchise, they all perfectly connect and synchronize to titillate our pleasures. And basically, as the world falls, young Furiosa is snatched from the grim place of many mothers and into the hands of a biker horde led by the warlord, the Dementus, who is played by Chris Hemsworth. While two tyrants war for dominance over the Citadel, Furiosa survives many trials as she plots her way back home through the wasteland. And basically, at the beginning of the trailer, it says that the main character was snatched 45 years ago, which kind of makes Max a lot older than he's supposed to be in the previous movie. But basically, fans have been discussing the fact that in the movie Mad Max Fury Road, it clearly shows that Tom Hardy's Max has a tattoo that states that it's been 33 years since the fall. And basically, if you put all of these numbers together, Max should have been in his 60s/70s in that movie, which of course is not the case. But people have been discussing this mostly because of the tie-in comics that basically draw all the different bridges in between the different movies, since there has been a lot of time in between them, basically making Mad Max Fury Road the canon. But at the end of the day, do we really care about it? Anya Taylor-Joy looks incredible. The poster you can see right here is insane looking, and honestly, this is gonna be a blast at the same level as Dune, but mostly just fun, incredible action sequences. Let's head into the next piece of news and talk about the Fallout series, which is coming out on Amazon Prime Video on April 12th. We have first a poster, then we got a couple of cinematic stills from the trailer, and not even like a couple of days later, we finally got a trailer for the series. It looks incredible. I actually played one of the most recent Fallout games. Honestly, I found it quite underwhelming, especially when it comes to its story. I feel like the lore of Fallout is incredibly interesting, the universe as well, the gameplay, of course, but at the end of the day, these are not really story-driven games, just because the open world is way too expansive and there is no way that people are gonna be following one story. They're gonna be making their own. This is the only thing that maybe might worry a lot of fans. What is this series gonna be about? Especially since there have been so many different games, and also the creators of the Fallout games have clearly stated that this series is gonna be canon and it's not gonna be repeating stories that we've heard before. it's a new story that fits quite tightly within the universe of Fallout. But just in case you're a noob and you don't know what Fallout is about, here's a little plot synopsis. Basically, the story begins in the year 2296, which is 219 years after a devastating nuclear war that has turned the USA into a nuclear wasteland. Lucy, who is played by Ella Purnell, who you might know because of her performance in Yellow Jackets, hardly knows anything about it. She has spent the rest of her life in an underground bunker. At her side is her father, an overseer Hank, played by Kyle MacLachlan, who played one of the main characters in the first Dune adaptation. Since we were talking about Dune before, just a fun little hint as well. Sooner or later, however, Lucy has to come to the outside world for a rescue mission and finds a world full of mutants and other bizarre characters. The effects look incredible. We had a look at the suits, we had a look at the ghouls as well, especially the one played by Walter Goggins. It looks incredible, it looks so real. I mean, if you compare it to the other trailer that I talked about before, this trailer looks fantastic, as in we could watch the series tomorrow and it would feel like it's ready, basically. It's perfect that way. Honestly, I'm quite hyped for it, mostly because of who is behind this series. It's Jonathan Nolan, aka the creator of Westworld, and of course he's written a lot of scripts for his brother Christopher Nolan, and also I would argue that when they stopped working together, Christopher Nolan's script started dipping.
Can you tell us a little bit about Fallout?
Fallout?
Fallout, the video game?
I love video games. I'm not familiar with the Fallout. Tell me a little bit about it. Thanks, Adam.
Jonathan Nolan really has a lot of imagination and he has a clear direction when it comes to visually what he wants for his series, but also the performances are always so good. Westworld, the first 2 seasons, let's say, were incredible pieces of television. So honestly, high hopes, and also I'm pretty sure that this is gonna be an event not to be missed. The next piece of news is a bit more niche because I wanted to turn your attention to a series that maybe you have not heard of before. It is coming out quite soon on Hulu or Disney Plus worldwide.
Life and death are the same. Both can have value and purpose. 覚悟はできておりまする。
It's coming on February 27, it's called Shogun, and since lately we got an incredible, fresh looking series with the anime Blue Eye Samurai, I was like, I need to talk about this because the trailer looks insane and we've got some interesting actors attached to the project as well. But what is this series about? Because yes, we have a poster and yes, we have a trailer for it. It's based on a novel written by James Clavels from 1977, and it is set in Japan in the year 1600 and follows Lord Ishii Toranaga, who is played by the wonderful Hiroyuki Sanada, who must fight for his life after his enemies on the Council of Regents unite against him. It's gonna be made of 10 episodes, and the first 2 episodes are coming out on the date that I mentioned before, so February 27. Honestly, this looks incredible. This also reminds me of other high-budget period dramas like the South Korean Kingdom, and I really hope that this gets your attention because these are the kind of shows that if you don't have good marketing for it, they're gonna be forgotten and they're not gonna get like a second season. But I feel like people love samurai stuff, especially when it's taken incredibly seriously, when it's bloody as well, because this looks very, very bloody. And it's a mix of English and Japanese as well, which is fun. I don't want everyone to be speaking English, it's incredibly weird. But also if you make everyone speak Japanese, then you kind of lose a lot of audience members who immediately they're not interested in it. It's a bit of a shame, I know, but that's how the world works, and I feel like that's what's gonna happen for the next few years anyways. And now we're gonna be heading into our bonus news. We're gonna try to rapid fire as many news about cinema and TV shows as fast as possible. There is a lot to talk about. Let's try and do it, okay? First of all, we've got a look at The Boys Season 4 trailer, which looks interesting, but at the end of the day, we almost have no idea what it is about. We have a look at Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, and he looks exactly like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He doesn't really have anything new or special about the character that he's portraying here. He seems to be an old friend of Butcher. I'm kind of worried mostly because we don't know where this is heading. This could have been a trailer for the 3rd season. I would not have seen the difference at all, and I still don't see how this relates to Gen V, especially because they said that this season was really related to Gen V. Of course, it looks insane. It's gonna be bloody as usual, but I just was expecting a little bit more. And then we finally have the news that Michael Waldron, he's gonna be the writer for Avengers Kang Dynasty and also Secret Wars, and previously he was the writer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and also Loki. So it's a good news, especially because the Kang kind of phase of the MCU has been very messy and mostly hit and miss. We're gonna be staying in the MCU and talk about a weird teaser that we got about this new show called Agatha Darhold Diaries, and apparently in this clip they were talking about the 4K release of WandaVision, and they briefly talked about basically what this series is gonna be about. It's gonna be premiering next year on Disney Plus. Jack Schaffer is coming back as the showrunner, and apparently Agatha Harkness, she finds herself powerless after breaking out of a containment in Westview, and she looks to some unlikely allies to join her on her quest to regain her former powers. It's gonna be 9 episodes long, and honestly I'm not that hyped for it, mostly because in the video itself people are like saying people have been expecting for this is gonna be so incredible. Do we actually care about Agatha Harkness? I really don't think so, and this show has changed title 3 times, so I'm a bit worried when it comes to the content, the script, or even the intention behind this. But it's the same creator as WandaVision, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna be at least decent. Then we have a weird news where basically The Boys Mexico is gonna come out. It's in the works, and the people attached to it are Diego Luna and Gael Garcia Bernal, and we don't know anything else about it besides the fact that the title sounds very stupid, and I hope that they change it. Then we've got some news about Suicide Squad Isekai, which is an anime, and the trailer is out as well. It's coming out next year. It looks incredibly weird, and if you don't know what Isekai means, because I don't know either, it literally means other world, and it's a subgenre of manga in the world of Japanese fantasy, basically an imaginary world that involves the supernatural, magic, and is often associated with myths. It looks incredibly weird, and this is the kind of stuff that I want to see in anime form as well, and this is full on Japanese, it's not English at all. Just wanted to mention it because of what I've talked about before. Then we've got some first posters for House of the Dragons which have been released, and without even knowing why, we have got a trailer for House of the Dragons Season 2 as well, which is coming out summer 2024. It looks incredible. The budget seems to be even better than before because the SFX, like, they don't look as weird as they look in some of the episodes of the previous season. This is gonna be incredible, and the hype for Game of Thrones is once again up there. And then as a last piece of news, well, the Halo Season 2 trailer has come out as well, and it's gonna be released on Paramount Plus on February 8th. I watched a couple of episodes of Halo and was not really that into it, but I really dig the visual style. So if you like the series, now you know it's coming out soon. Anyways, those are all the news that I had for today. Let me know down in the comments if they missed anything about the news, and come back next week for more news as well. I'm Patrick, and this is Torn Apart News.
Back in the 90s, I was in a very famous TV show.
Hello, Duck. My name is Human Name, and I'm going to pick you up now. Place your hand firmly underneath the duck, palm side up, and lift. Congratulations, you're now holding a duck.